Hi, welcome to the breakout session for the ACRS Community Farm. I'm Jill Wasberg. I'm the editor-in-chief of the International Examiner, and I'm here today with G. DeCastro, who's the Director of Aging and Adult Services for ACRS.
Hi, Jill. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us at this breakout session.
So we're at the Seattle Community Farm, which is now under directorship of ACRS. For the folks at home, do you want to talk a little bit about where the farm's located? It's kind of tucked away.
Yes, it's located in the Rainier Vista neighborhood, just a couple blocks away from ACRS, so a couple blocks south, along kind of Andover Street is where you might choose to enter the farm. So it's about a half acre of land that we've taken on managing since 2018. From the previous organization that managed it, Solid Ground. And how it came to ACRS was at that time when Solid Ground decided, maybe it's time to pass the farm on to another organization. They asked around the neighborhood and the different organizations and nonprofits in the Rainier Vista area and Seattle. And then we were approached, ACRS was approached, saying, hey, do you have any interest in managing a farm? And of course, ACRS has never managed a farm before, but we are always interested and curious about resources that will help the community. So I went to visit the farm along with our nutrition program manager, Miguel Saldin, sort of fell in love, looking at the space, and I said, we should think about this more. We have a partnership with Seattle Housing Authority, who owns the land. So SHA owns the land, and ACRS essentially manages the farm with the very limited, almost non-existent resources that we have, and that's why you're here. So hopefully you can spread the word that the farm's here, it's doing great work, and that we need support. So. Yeah.
And it's a huge benefit to the community, not only just to the clients you serve, but some of the produce that's been grown here has definitely benefited people, especially during COVID. Can you talk a little bit about that?
When the pandemic hit, understandably, the activity in the farm kind of slowed down quite a bit, but there was still some activity happening, and it was a great place for folks to go because it's outdoors. At the time we were learning a lot of the transmission that was happening indoors, and so some of our folks who felt comfortable enough doing outdoor activities, and because of its size, you can see it's not hard to social distance. Like you can literally be 12 feet apart if you needed to while working out here in the farm. So there was still some activity happening. And with some of those produce that we were able to grow during that time, that actually went into some of the food bags that the food bank was distributing throughout the pandemic. And even now, it continues even now. So right now you're seeing some of these produce, some of it will go to the actual groups that grow them. So the farm is not managed by ACRS, but there are different groups that come in to help, or they say to steward some of the rows of vegetables or whatever else is growing at this time. So hopefully it's been a great resource during this time for additional food sources, and just getting out and being outside during the pandemic has really helped some of our folks continue to be active in the farm.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, earlier we talked about the connection between mental health and gardening. And I'm not sure if people really understand that connection, or if they think it's anecdotal, or maybe just like qualitative research, but it's really true. I mean, I don't know if you have any stories of people that have shared with you about how much it benefits their mental health to be out here.
Well, I know that right now we have a group of elders from the Mian community through our behavioral health program that actually manages sort of the bottom, the flat area of the farm towards further down our care. About 20 rows of growing vegetables and other things. And I think, one of the things that I thought about when I was imagining what would it mean for ACRS to take stewardship of this farm was the benefit that it would really have, of course, for the community at large, but also for the many of our clients, many of the Asian communities come from agricultural industries, especially some of our older folks. They're familiar with the land. It's probably what they did. Some of them back home was they were farmers. And so I thought, that would be a great way to maybe reconnect them to what's familiar in their home countries. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think there's something about working with the land is healing. I think about, I remember this woman from ACRS, one of the clients working in the farm, and I was just watching her do this kind of it's like a ritual, like she chops down the vegetable that she's harvesting, and then takes out the good parts of it, and then chops down the excess, and then spreads it, leaves it on the land to fertilize it for the next whatever's going to be grown there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just beautiful a minute, and I just kind of smiled at her and waved at her after that, and kind of was really just grateful to have that encounter, because it just was a beautiful reminder of our relationship to the earth. And especially now, we're talking about what does it mean to be green, what does it mean to be stewards of the planet. And that's the other thing I had hoped the farm would be, certainly for our seniors and for the older generations, but for the younger people too, of learning the value of taking care of Earth, and like, where does your food come from? It doesn't just appear on the plate at your dining table. It has to come from somewhere, and I think this is a great opportunity to kind of start those wheels turning.
I think it's also community gardens like this that support certain ethnic communities are an excellent learning place for us. I mean, intergenerational learning, but also learning about customs like that, or like practices like that. Different cultures bring different types of practices, and so we can really learn from some of the practices that we see out here. Is there anything about like fertilization or putting gardens to bed that they do really well? You just talked about putting the gardens.
Yeah, some of it is they bring their own know-how to take care of the land, because it doesn't kind of just happen. You need to take care of the earth so that it can take care of you by way of the food that it provides us. So this is one of the things that we're hoping to be able to do in the future. Right now, we don't quite have all the resources that we want or need to do all those kinds of programming. And I'm hoping that in time, as people learn about the farm, as they get involved actually in working at the farm as volunteers, or just as interested community members, that we'll have that opportunity to get the resources we need, so we can have that educational piece back in our work in the farm.
Yeah. And then you had mentioned earlier that there were bees here, which that would be great to bring back. Bees are very, very helpful to gardens, and it's fun to. I actually sit in my garden and I watch bees, and it's very mesmerizing and pretty therapeutic actually to be like you said, we're all in this global warming crisis right now, and food insecurity is a thing, and bees are dying, and so it's a nice space to sit down, and it's comforting to see it.
Yeah, a little further that way, south of where we're at right now, is an apiary. So there was a bee farm that was there. Unfortunately, our bee farmer retired, and we're still in the hunt for a new bee farmer, because the bees help a lot in, as we know, in pollinating all these beautiful plants and trees and flowers around us, and so they do play an important part. And actually, at some point, they were producing honey for us.
Oh my gosh!
I should have brought I should have brought one of those jars of honey that came from the apiary.
So good for your immune system.
Yes. But, it's just, that's why I keep thinking, boy, it's a farm that keeps on giving, And so I hope that we find a way to give back to it in some ways, either through working with us in a farm or through some other financial support that folks can give. Yeah.
And for financial support, I mean, you need a garden manager, right? Is that the main thing?
Yeah, it would be nice to have, when we got the funding from King Conservation District, one of the things that we were able to do and that was necessary at that time to ensure the kind of a good transition of the farm from solid ground to whoever was going to be assuming being manager of the farm was somebody who knew what was going on. And so we were able to hire a farm manager or a farmer who, to take care of things during that transition. And so after that funding ran out, we unfortunately had to also kind of end that position, but we're hoping it's something that we're able to bring back also permanently in the future, because it does help having somebody who just kind of oversees everything. Right now, I think we could do better in terms of focusing more time and attention to the farm if we had a dedicated paid staff member who can oversee operations.
I saw a lot of garlic growing out here. I'm wondering what else is growing.
Well, I know for this year we've grown some chives. You saw the garlic, some our usual lettuce that we've been growing.
Lots of lettuce.
Yeah, lots of lettuce.
There's a bunny.
And basil. I think we grow Thai basil. Just some of the things that maybe Asian kitchens might be able to use, even our own kitchen. So
there's some parsley.
Parsley, yes.
I think, yeah. And what groups benefit from the garden? Who gardens here?
Well, right now, some of the regular groups that come to help us managing the farm, they take certain rows that they kind of take care of. And for example, the Seattle BIPOC Farmers Group is one group that's been here regularly, doing a fantastic job in one area of the farm. We had, prior to the pandemic, we had the Lao Myanmar group, and they grow the produce, harvest it, and then meet up with other urban farmers in the area and do kind of like produce exchanges, which is really cool.
That's super cool.
They get to benefit from their hard work because they're the ones that grew that produce and just be kind of like proud of what they've been able to produce. And then, like I said, kind of like our food bank benefits from the farm. So one of our food bank staff occasionally helps out in ensuring that we have good produce to harvest in the farm. And then the flatter kind of bottom section down there is managed, about 20 rows of them, by our elders, a group of seniors in our Referral program from the Indian community. So those are some of the groups that, there have been others that have come and gone, like the youth group of API Chaya have been here through here. Some of the groups that have come through.
Yeah. It's such an enormous space to take care of. I'm sure that you rely on the help of volunteers. And actually, the volunteer coordinator, Nate, is here. Maybe he can talk about it. I'm here with Nate Baum, and he's the volunteer manager for ACRS.
Oh, hi. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you all so much for having me. And just very happy to talk about some of the volunteer groups that have been able to come here and some of the volunteer experiences that we've had. So, we're really fortunate. I was really excited when this farm first opened up because it's one of the most accessible volunteer opportunities that we have been able to offer folks. So we've been able to have young people, we've had elders come in, people of all ages. We've been able to accommodate large groups of people here, and it's an opportunity where people can really see the fruits of their labor and the outcomes of the work, so people can take a lot of satisfaction, whether it's clearing out the blackberry bushes there, or seeing something that they've planted come to harvest, just clearing out some of the beds that they can then see afterwards, and know that that's going to be able to grow a lot of food. So it's been really terrific. We've had volunteers that have volunteered here and then helped distribute some of the food that they've then helped grow at our food bank and Club Bamboo. We've had our youth job readiness training volunteers, or young people, do their summer internships here to help gain work experience. We've had a large slew of groups who've had community events on top of their volunteer experiences. And what's been neat recently, we just had our largest group, our sort of big group activity for the first time since COVID that we were able to do here because of all the space. So we've had the Asian American Real Estate Association of America, the Seattle branch of that, come here, and it was really kind of nice feeling to have a group back and see people together, and knowing that it was safe with the space and being outside. So it's just been a really wonderful experience for a wide range of people. We've had families that have come volunteered together. We've had, which has been wonderful, even fathers and parents carrying, little ones in a little carrier of sorts. So it's been really great. We've had a lot of really cool opportunities for folks. So
it's one of the most popular, it might be the most popular volunteer experience at ACRS for people. And why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's. I think it's really just the opportunity to be outside. It's the opportunity to sort of see the outcome of what you're doing, and knowing that you're directly supporting community members with accessing food in a really just rich and meaningful way. I think it's also just the sort of connection that you can have here. Just the experience of being here too is really relaxing and just nice. Like, I love coming here for walks as well. So I think once people come, it's just really, they have a great time and are interested and just really pumped about coming back as well. So, and I think then there's also that it's just so many different people can come volunteer here because it's such an accessible opportunity too. So it's been great. And we've had wonderful staff on the nutrition program who've really helped also help people understand the impact of their work, help teach about, farming both locally, but then nationally when we think about where our food comes from, just help them just learn some really great skills too that I think are, just really valuable for, understanding where our food comes from, learning how to grow things. And I think all those reasons have made it really popular. So
I would think too, getting away from your desk and doing something physical, it would feel really good.
And it's also definitely a big plus to not be inside at a desk or cubicle. So
yeah. So you have a massive number of volunteers who come through here. How do volunteers help maintain the garden?
Yeah, volunteers are just integral to kind of keeping this place going alongside the nutrition program staff. So, volunteers are here helping to clear the rows and clear the garden beds. They are helping to plant new crops. They're helping to harvest those crops once they come to be grown, helping to sort of weed out areas and maintain the physical space. So volunteers have kind of touched every part of this area. And, for example, I can think of some of our, we've partnered with the Day of Caring and had large groups from Nordstrom come through who've just in one day really helped us clean up that area back there, helped to clear out the weeds that might come through from that side. And then just started really building out some of the rows. And then some of the service learning students we've had from colleges or from our youth job readiness program, just, regularly coming here to weed out some of the beds. And then just, very getting sort of more skilled at sort of some of the individual planting and harvesting work, some of the more advanced pieces as they spent more time here. So we've had just kind of that diversity of engagement from it. So it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, and the work of the farm, it would not be possible without volunteers at this time. Like I said, we don't really have any dedicated paid staff to kind of help in the operations of the farm. So those groups of volunteers that come in to do all those things that Nate said, and then more, really ensure that it's a viable source of all of this goodness that we're able to enjoy and the community is able to enjoy. And we have a very large part due to all the volunteer work that's come through. So.
Yeah. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank G. I want to thank Nate. If you're interested in the garden or volunteering, you can go to ACRS/volunteer. And also you can support ACRS coming up through Walk for Rice. So you can go to Walk for Rice, look it up online, walkforrice.org. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Sorry.
1, 2, 3. All right, we're gonna try one more time to see if G and yeah, same time. Before you do that, both of you take half a step backwards, and let me do something before we start.
This is a part where I'm not very good at.
Yeah, Jill, you're drifting a little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whenever people hug me, I'm like, ah!
So I'm rolling. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
We're all like, it's going to be edited, so.
Yeah. Work your magic.